What sits on the throne is always changing, and today we're gonna go through the seasons to find the king of items. Our first example is in the Star Wars season, where they released a secret emote you can't get. That's right, on May 4th, Epic accidentally released Go Home, something that was meant to be exclusive to Season X. It took 3 hours for them to notice their mistake and removed it, but anyone who bought it was given a refund and then got to keep it. Those who bought this in Season X felt cheated, and that's when Epic decided to reward them for being OG. They gave the exclusive spectating emote for free, and now no one else could get it. And in Lawless, the rarest item was just hiding in plain sight. Fortnite did something insane and finally gave us gold llamas, but there was something even cooler hiding inside. If you got insanely lucky, you could get their most elusive reward, the mythic goldfish, and this thing only had a 0.1% chance of spawning. In Demon Hunters, this season didn't have many rare items. Everyone got to experience the whole thing. Well, at least by the end. At the start of Season 1, it was basically impossible to find an Earth sprite. There were only 3 of these in a single match, and they weren't marked on the map. If you were lucky enough to find one, you could then feed it a weapon to get a legendary item in return. They were so hard to find that Epic had to buff them to 5 per match and then add an icon. Taking it back to Chapter 5, we had Remix, and while this kind of felt like a mid-season, there was a rare item that only pro players know about. It was the Gilded Pincher Pickaxe, and it may look like your average Snoop Dogg cosmetic, but you could only get this if you completed 100 Storm Circles in Ranked, all in 30 days. For those who put in the copious amount of hours to do this, they also had to be on Real Rank to unlock all of the edit styles, making this the rarest pickaxe of Chapter 5. Before that, we had the second Marvel season, which included an entire mechanic that was deleted after only 3 hours. You had to be here on day 1 of the season within minutes of downtime ending just to use it, and I'm talking about recruiting henchmen. For some reason, you could down any of the enemy NPCs and straight up revive them, bringing them onto your squad. It wasn't a glitch or an unfinished feature, it was definitely intentional, and yet within hours, it was gone forever. Does this remind anybody else of the Wastelanders Mark wrap? You might be thinking this is just a random exclusive from a code or something like that, but everyone had a chance to get this, and you likely missed out. In Wrecked, you might remember the Wastelander challenges. You'd accept them and be stuck with a negative effect for the rest of the game. There was floor as lava, damage when picking up items, even no healing. It's crazy to think they cost gold to remove and were some of the toughest quests that Epic has ever given us. But because of that, if you manage to win with one of these active, you'd be rewarded with this free wrap, and it's the only way to get it. Now, if I showed you this back bling from the Greek season, you're probably thinking it looks familiar. That's Custard Treasy from the Summer Escape quest, but actually, this isn't the item from Chapter 4. It's an identical version that was only given to a handful of sweats. This is Poison, and the only way to get it was reaching level 200 within 3 weeks of the Greek season coming out. Barely anyone knows this even exists. What about Underground? Well, this season was hiding an item that only existed for a single day. The Icy Grappler has been around for a few years now, but if you grabbed it during this season, consider yourself extremely lucky. It was in the regular loot pool on December 19th, and by the 20th, Fortnite dropped an entire hotfix just to get rid of it. Turns out, it was very busted and just kept crashing people's lobbies. And to this day, the Icy Grappler has never returned since. You'll also never be able to grab the Unreal Timebrella. This was introduced in the OG season, and of course you had to get it from the cup. Now, that doesn't sound too hard, but don't forget OG Fortnite was only 30 days long, along with the fact it was before Fortnite added rank to tons of modes. This Unreal style is one of the rarest umbrellas of all time. And did you know there was an insane feature in Last Resort that only had a small chance of appearing? You could be minding your own business in game, and if the stars align, you'll get a random rift encounter with 4 vending machines. If you combine this with the MPs, you could get max gold in seconds. It was insane. Now we're in the wild season, and if you remember this time, reality augments is the first to come to mind. Many players tried constantly to get them, but it was super hard to land on an exact one, especially if that perk was only in the game for a week. One of those was Fire Armory, which was the only way to unlock the Dragon's Breath shotgun and sniper. This was in the final week of Wilds, and so many people missed out on it. Just like they missed out on Mega's insane weapon. The Overclock Pulse Rifle was an exclusive mythic to this season, and you could only grab it from Loot Island, with like literally everybody fighting over it. In fact, it was so overpowered that Epic had to nerf it a couple weeks later, so if you were lucky enough to use this pre-nerf, you were holding the rarest item in Mega. What happens if you take the very low chance of getting the Fire Armory perk and the insane stats of the Mythic Pulse Rifle? Combining those will give you the Riftjector, a super rare, insanely powerful augment in Season 1 that was straight up busted. The Chrome season. Now, there were a ton of problems with it, but the biggest issue was how Epic kept adding glitched items. One of these was the Dial-A-Drop, a revolutionary way to call in 3 different types of supply drops, from heals to weapons and even pickup trucks. Well, it was fun while it lasted because we only got to use it for a week before it was vaulted, all thanks to an infinite loot glitch. What about vibing? This season was so relaxing, there's no way they had any rare items, right? Well, what about an exclusive ice cream you could only get from a food mascot? Yeah, if you went to Lil Whip's NPC, there was a chance he would throw an ice cream at you, but if you got incredibly lucky, you'd receive his special serve. This was an entire chug jug in just 1 second. Resistance is known for 2 things, the live event and the fact we were banned from building for 2 weeks. And if you were around during the infamous zero build experiment, you might not know there was a way to get past it. All you had to do was launch a mode Epic forgot to update, like Arena. Not only were basic features like ziplines broken, but building was still enabled. These people were the only players in the world to have builds. So there's a running theme here because the rarest item in the flip season was actually a pumped shotgun. And I know it sounds ridiculous because we've had these for years, right? Well, flipped was the start of Chapter 3, and Epic reset the loot pool all over again, meaning pumps were banned. But did you know you could go to a vending machine and get lucky enough to find one? Total accident, Epic quickly fixed it, but people were still running around with pumps. Turns out, if you were smart enough to buy them and then store it in a 10, you could literally play Fortnite with contraband. We're now in Chapter 2 with the Cube season, and for just 24 hours, it included one of the rarest things in Fortnite history. You had to go deep in the woods. You would find this little guy called Bud the Mushroom, and Epic didn't tell anyone about it. He'd follow you around and heal you constantly, making him the most overpowered item of the season. But the problem is, when word got out, he was gone forever. Now, he wasn't the only experiment hiding in Chapter 2. During the alien invasion, you could find these new holopads around the map. If you went to this exact one at the Green Bridge, it would turn you into bubblegum. Now, the problem was you could basically fly around at Mach 10, breaking the game, and it forced Epic to delete this after only a few days. Everyone knows Lara Croft made her debut in the Primal season, but did you know about her secret quest with an exclusive reward? Well, once you unlocked the outfit, you had to wear it in a game, go to Aurelia's tiny island, and be lucky enough to steal her gold scar. If all of these ducks were in a row, you'd be given the golden Lara Croft skin. Epic never even told people about this quest, so not many players have it. And the 0 Point season before that had an item which has never returned. It was in the final update. Epic added a mode called the Bodyguard LTM, and inside you could grab a mythic bandage bazooka. One, it took up a single inventory slot rather than 2, and is the only time it has ever appeared in mythic form. The first Marvel season, there are so many items in the loot pool that everyone forgot about fire traps. It was a brand new trap, and considering Epic only makes a new one like every few years, it was a big deal. Yet barely anyone found them, and if they did, they probably didn't pick it up. This is one of those items that sucks so bad that Epic straight up never brought it back. Now, if you're a regular viewer of my videos, first, thanks so much, but also you've definitely heard me talk about the mythic mushroom before. It's no surprise this is the rarest item of the Flood season because it was only in game for 2 hours, had a 0.01% chance of spawning, and gave you 100 shield instantly. It's actually a miracle we even know this existed. While you're running around Fortnite, you always have to look out for someone with a fully gold Agent Peely. That's because chances are you probably won't find one. This is one of the rarest skins in Fortnite. Agent Peely was of course a Battle Pass skin in the Midas season, but in order to get his fully gold super style, you needed to reach level 350. To save you from looking it up, that is 30 million XP, which is hundreds of hours of gameplay. And thanks to him being a Battle Pass skin, we'll never get the chance to earn it again. One season before that, we were freshly introduced to Chapter 2's new map and a completely different loot pool. This meant that fans never realized the mythic goldfish was hiding the whole time. You had to constantly fish, and even then, you only had a small chance of grabbing it. And by the way, I mean a 1 in a million chance. Fortnite never told anyone about this thing, but they did warn us about Season X's rarest item. So to promote the end event, they introduced an important member of the 7 called Paradigm. She was exclusive, making her the first limited time item shop skin in history. And this held true for many years until one day they added her back for 1 hour by mistake. So to apologize to all the OGs, they designed a purple edit style, and owning this proves you have the rarest item of Season X. It's kind of like if you own this item from Season 9. Many of you have probably seen this artwork before, but is it in your locker? This was a prophecy that was revealed more and more every day thanks to Fortbytes. You had to complete a daily challenge to get a piece of the puzzle, and after 100 of these, you would finish the loading screen and unlock it. So now, this iconic artwork is actually the most exclusive item of its time. If you were around during the pirate season before this, you could have also gotten your hands on a super rare outfit, Reflex. It was originally an Nvidia exclusive skin. You had to literally buy a $500 graphics card to get it. But then Season 8 came, and they just dropped this in the shop out of nowhere. Instead of refunding people who bought it, they just let them keep it, and instead designed the Stealth Reflex skin for OGs, and neither of them have returned since. If you played in Season 7, check your locker right now, and you might discover you're holding a super rare item. You had to reach tier 50, and you would get this loading screen for links, and while it wasn't really that important at the time, it's become one of the only animated loading screens in Fortnite. A ton of players might have this and not even realize how exclusive it is. And what about the secret Wreck-It Ralph collab that only existed for 2 days? Well, in Season 6, Hot Marat was released in the item shop and it cost literally 0 V-Bucks, but it was a reference to Ralph Breaks the Internet. It hasn't come back in over 2,300 days, and because of that, it is one of the rarest collabs in pretty much the whole game. Now, there's probably a few million people who own it, but what about a backbling that exactly 0 people own? In Season 5, Fortnite introduced the Penguin and Insignia backblings. So what's the catch? They were exclusive to Fortnite China. So not only was it impossible to grab it unless you had a Chinese account, but they ended up deleting the entire mode in 2021, so now nobody has it. And hey, at least you had some chance of finding Season 4's Eye of the Storm tracker. And that's if you were lucky enough to play during the 30 minutes it existed. Randomly one day you would stumble across a backpack, and picking it up you would realize it revealed future storm circles. It now holds the record for the fastest vaulting in history after half an hour. It's only tied with the Zapatron. Only difference is this item never came back. The further you rewind time, the rarer these items get, like John Wick's glider. Not the actual collab, I'm referring to Season 3's ripoff of John. He was the tier 100 skin, which is already hard to get on its own, but once you completed the pass and got his outfit, you still had exclusive challenges to do. Once 7 of them were completed, then you would earn the high octane glider, and it's still insanely rare to this day. In Season 2, everybody knows the rarest item. It was the first season to include a battle pass, and at the end of it, tier 70, you had Black Knight. To this day, he is considered one of the most exclusive skins out there, and if you wanted, all you could do is buy reskins instead of the real thing. And that's hard to say because Season 1's rarest items came back. At the time, the Mako glider was the hardest cosmetic to grab, thanks to it being a part of the season shop. You had to be level 25 to even get a chance to buy it. Then they accidentally released it again in 2018, but this was January, and the game hadn't blown up yet, so it remained the rarest glider in Fortnite. How many of these have you tried or owned? Let me know in the comments below. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.